Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Bernette B33. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take care of your machine. Now, as you're sewing, lint is going to build up, especially in the bobbin area, and we need to know how to clean that out. Also, part of maintenance of your sewing machine is to make sure you have a good needle. Now, it'll say in the book every 6 to 8 hours or something like that. But I go by for how many bobbins I use up. So if you use up 3 full bobbins of thread on that single needle, by the time you've done that, that needle's gone through the fabric so many times it's starting to get dull at the tip. And that dull needle can actually damage your fabric as you're sewing. So don't just go till the needle breaks or something like that. Change your needle fairly regularly. And use the correct needle for the type of sewing that you're doing. If you're sewing swimwear, use a stretch needle. If you're sewing quilting cotton, one of those sharps or microtex needles are beautiful. If you're sewing denim, use a denim or jeans needle. Okay, to start out with, we want to unthread our machine. So remember, snip your thread here, pull the thread out here. That's so that you're not building up lint in your thread tension disc by pulling the thread backwards out of your machine. Then we also need to take the bobbin out. So we take the bobbin out like this, drop that guy out of there like that. Then we're going to need to clean here, but also I want to show you how to take the foot off and take the needle out. Now, when you take the needle out and you change the needle, you need to turn off your machine if you're concerned that maybe somebody's going to step on the foot control or whatever. That's what the book is going to tell you for safety purposes. But for educational purposes, I want the light here so that you can see. So I'm going to leave it on. Take my screwdriver. Now, there's no screwdriver in the accessories. I suggest you get this kind of screwdriver here. This 3-cornered screwdriver. It's nice and short. Gives you plenty of torque. So I'm going to use that to take my needle out. I'm going to take the foot off, actually, get that out of the way. I like to have the foot off when I take the needle out because that way that nice sharp tip doesn't get scratched on the foot. And the foot is easy to remove. You just push that little lever in the back there. Now, to make sure things stay safe, I'm going to put that right there in the accessory box, both of those things there. And now I'm going to show you how to take that needle plate off of there, because if you're going to sew a lot, you're going to have lint built up around the feed dogs. That's because the feed dogs pull along on that fabric and little microscopic bits of thread get into your feed dogs. They can anyway. Especially true if you're sewing vinyl or flannel. You're sewing flannel and you've got, more torque. There we go. There we go. The new machine. That's why I'm using one of the corners of the screwdriver here. This is a really good screwdriver to have for this purpose because it's nice and short. Long handle screwdriver, you'll find that it does not fit in there, and so you need a short screwdriver. Now, once they're up far enough, I can usually do them with my fingers. Notice they're little bitty short screws. You want to put them somewhere where it's safe, not just on your desk because they could fall on the floor and get lost. This comes right off here. Now, take a brush, clean in between those feed dogs, especially if you've done anything that's fuzzy like flannel or fleece. Or quilting batting, you're going to find a little bit of fuzz around there. You want to clean that all off really good. Now, you can use your vacuum cleaner hose attachment as you're cleaning and get things really nice and clean, but don't use that canned air. I don't really like that because when you spray it long enough, hold that little actuator down long enough, you're going to start spraying frost. And frost is moisture, and you don't want moisture in your machine. So, vacuum cleaner is fine, or just your brush. That works well too. Now, while we've got this apart, while I've got this off, I'm going to show you how to take apart the bobbin area. You move these little clips to the right and the left, and that falls right out like that. Now notice that this is like a half circle, and this is the other half of the circle. So that's how those two go together. So we'd brush this out really good. By the way, this brush, you don't have a brush in your accessories, I would recommend getting this brush here. Okay, it has a little needle inserter at the end of it, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. So we brush this really good. You can move this to one side and see how it oscillates back and forth there. Okay, now your book has some pages right here that is towards the end of the book that talks about oiling the machine. Now, it shows you where to oil it, but I'm going to show you by pointing where to oil it. You see this thing here, how it moves back and forth, okay? You want to put a little bit of oil right above there, and because this part slides along this rim, you want to put a little oil right there, and that'll help it work. And you only need like 1 or at most 2 drops of oil. You don't want to put very much on there. And that you don't need to do really often. Cleaning out the lint is the main thing that you're going to want to do. But if you notice your machine's running a little rough, it's probably past due time to oil it. Now, oil. What kind of oil should you use? You should use a good quality sewing machine oil. Now, this is one that we have here. It's a zoom spout oiler, which means you can make this nice and long and reach way into things if you need to. This is the cap, and the cap has a nice little parking spout right there on the lid, which I think is a really cool feature. Anyway, so good quality oil, nice short screwdriver, and a brush with a needle inserter. Now, to put this back together, this is the first part we put in. Remember, we complete the circle right like that, and it just sits there with gravity. If you bump it, it's going to fall back out. So just leave it right there. And this is the retaining ring. Now, the retaining ring has these 2 knobs on it on the front part. That's where these 2 clips go. So if you have it like this and you're not seeing those knobs, then that's not the way to put it in. You're going to need to have those knobs showing. This little knob down here fits right in there, so you know you have it in the right place. Fits right like that. And we push those little clips so that they're against the retaining ring. And that holds it all together. As you can see, it holds it just fine. Now, we're going to put this guy back on. That's our needle plate with the seam allowance seam guides on them. It's really a nice little feature to have those lines so you can make nice straight seam allowances. It also has it in metric. You have 10 millimeters, 15 millimeters, and 20 millimeters. And you have them on both sides, too, which is a nice feature. So you can do your 5/8 inch seam allowance on the left as well as on the right. Okay, now notice I put those screws in using my fingers for the first part, and then I'm just tightening it up using the screwdriver and tighten it up a little bit like that. Now we're going to put that needle back in. The needle's still good. You can probably test it by going through fabric and just seeing how well this goes in just fine. But if you know you need to change your needle, change it to a good all-purpose needle for most sewing. Now, when you put it in, see how there's a flat side to this needle? That flat side is going to face away from you. Here is where we use this needle inserter. I'm going to poke it right into the end, making sure the flat side's facing away from me. Now, instead of holding that needle with my fingers, I've got this brush which acts like a handle for the needle. We'll start out with poking that right down in there where it sews, pull it straight up inside. I'm going to loosen this a little bit more to make sure we got that. Make sure it's flat against there. That's important. If it's a little bit cockeyed to one side or the other, you're not going to get it in there. Okay, I've got it off to one side. Oh, I know what I did. There's a little metal clip. Sometimes it even helps to have a mirror under there so you can see. Ah, yes, that's where it goes. Yeah. Do I have it the right way? No, I don't. I have it too far back. So use a mirror. That can actually help you get this in the right way. See, it's all the way up. Okay. Then we tighten this. Now, you can actually see the top of the needle right there if you get down and look. But you can also feel that's all the way up to the top. It's important that it's all the way up to the top and not hanging down a little bit. Because if your needle's hanging down a little bit, it can damage your machine. And things just won't work right. That's why having this little needle inserter brush is really a helpful thing to have. Okay, next we've got to put the foot back on. Hold your foot front and back like this. That little hole there where the needle goes through, match that up with a hole in the presser or the stitch plate. And now you have that right back on. You just lower your presser foot and it goes right back on. So that is basic maintenance on your machine. Like I say, most of the time, just taking this apart and brushing the lint out is about all you need to do. I hope you've found this to be a helpful video. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on this machine and on other machines here on our Montavilla YouTube channel, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.